the value of these accounts is that they are your accounts and you own them, right? No one can take them away from you. You own your community, you own your followers lists.
I'm still Brian of London on Hive, and I'm not Brian of London on Twitter. And it's as simple as that. Yeah. It's like that's
and you can quote Monty Python all day.
You can turn your account into a site as well, where it just shows your posts. So it's like it's more than an account. It's a website. It's a bank account. It's all these things that belong to you.
Yeah.
That you can build a foundation on.
I'll tell you what. It won't be long until a lot of these NFT platforms start to build these features into their NFTs, and then they'll be like, "Oh, Hive accounts are just clever NFTs." Chris Winfrey says, "Zero Sybil-resistant airdrops have turned into an arms race." This is very interesting. He's put a picture of a bunch of Borgs below the screen as well. He says, we had no idea what we were up against when we started designing the hop distribution. Here's how we filtered out over 10,000 Sybil attacker addresses and enlisted an army of Sybil hunters to find the rest. So this is the hop team finding their bots, because people have just made shit tons of bots to receive all of their airdrops, and they provide an airdrop service to various different projects, and it's like they've just been botted out. And so now they've done a lot of work, which is really interesting on how to find bots, which I think will be really interesting for us as well, because we're releasing ceramic accounts, and we're obviously worried about bots on that because they're going to be free to create. And so we've already been thinking as well about how do we locate bots and identify that they're bots, and then either make that information available to everyone or block them somehow, or whatever we end up doing, and give that the ability to do that to the community as much as possible. So it's really interesting because maybe they have some interesting techniques that they're using that we could use on our system on the Speak network as well. But I guess I'll let you crack on with this one, Brian, because this is one that you put in.
Well, the reason I put it in was because, up until 2 years ago in the Hive Steam thing, I had no idea what a Sybil attack was. I thought it was something to do with faulty towers and Brian Basil Faulty's wife.
Suck puppetry.
Careful! You already got deleted from Twitter once for mentioning Monty Python.
Well, I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it.
Very good.
But what the hell is it? I've never looked it up. I suppose I need to now. I've got to look up what the origin of a Sybil attack. It's such a strange term, but once you understand what it is, and essentially, this is Elon Musk's get out clause of avoiding paying his $1 billion penalty for his Twitter thing if it doesn't go through. It's like this thing of not being able to separate humans from bots. I understand the Turing test, and I understand all this stuff, but it comes back to like our reputations on Hive. They're so much harder to gain than most people realize, and they're so much more human than most people understand. It's like, I know who the humans are. Look, I run bots on Hive that do botty-like things, that post all the images from No Agenda Art Generator. That's a bot. Obviously it's a bot. It's designed as a bot. It tells you it's a bot. But the real humans are real humans. It's like, we all know who they are, but at scale, trying to find them is really complicated.
Well, this is a really good point, Brian, because I was thinking about this a lot, and it's like, the expectation is I can just register and I can be classed as a human. That should be my right.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you do it the Hive way, well, actually, maybe you need 6 months of posting and getting involved in the community until eventually the community says, well, actually, yeah, this guy is
he's legit.
Yeah. That's a valuable thing.
Because and like to a certain extent, I think the other way to do it is to say, well, pay us $3 of Lightning. Because Lightning is a micropayment transaction service. And that's actually pretty tricky to organize for a bot. And most people won't want to spend $3 on bullshit, on botting. So you've got to raise some kind of not just technical, but real barrier. And, all these captures, what a waste of time it is to asking me what the fuck. I mean, and which do you choose? Is the poll part of the traffic light or not? I don't know. Like, does anybody know? Are you supposed to pick the pole or just the traffic light box? Which one is it? And like, I can't.
Well, it depends if you're a bot or not.
It's like, yeah, which do you pick? I don't know. It's an existential problem for me. It's like, am I supposed to pick the poles or just the boxes with the lights in? It's like crazy.
And you're not even a bot, Brian.
I don't think I'm a bot.
although from some of the comments I've seen around you around the community, you might well be. People are pretty impressed with the value for value and the pod pin creation within a year. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, not to be. Well,
take it. Just take it.
I'll take it. It's fine. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I never said anything, Brian. It's just other people saying it. Don't worry.
I'm just a very naughty boy.
But having said that, it's got me thinking about how you get the community to like, you come back to this three hive, right? Three hive. If you're back in the old days, I was like, no way people are going to pay three hive for an account. No way.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to bring all these. I want to mass, scale in 1,000 new accounts because there's going to be a load of signups. No way they're going to pay 3 Hive. Especially then you've got to send them to. Well, the cool thing is you can now just send them to a Lightning invoice on the sign up point. Right. That is freaking cool.
That's something else that's going to happen. That has to be built in now. I actually think. I think going forward, it's going to be wrong to give Hive accounts away. They are not.
Yeah.
They are not unvaluable, and if we give them away, it creates a zero value to them, and that's just wrong. They are valuable. You should pay for this.
Yes.
And I think that's the future of Twitter, to be honest, but not charging everybody to use it. But somebody who's got a million followers, they should be paying $1,000 a month for Twitter, for sure, at least. And I mean, there'll be a shitstorm when all the blue check marks understand that they're going to be asked to pay, but they'll pay it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so this is something that comes back to the whole Hive ecosystem, because I would agree back in the early days, it was okay. We were giving accounts away, and a lot of those accounts got botted, right? And that's an issue. But I think at the time, to get us to a place where we could scale up a few users and things, it was useful. But now as we go forward, you can see there's very clearly value in someone who's been on Hive for 6 months, has been interacting with the community, doing various different transactions, and now all of a sudden people are like, yeah, this person is definitely real. That is valuable stuff. And so then you come back to like, well, either it's like, you get an account for free, but we're going to assume you're a bot, and that's going to give you various different things. And you can work your way out of that as you prove that you're human over time. That's valuable. Or you can pay the fee, and now that gets super easy with people being able to go straight from Bitcoin via Lightning invoice payments using your technology, actually, Brian, that can happen almost seamlessly. And then on top of that, just a comment from Taskmaster, he says it shouldn't be 3 Hive, it should be 3 HBD. Which I think is also very interesting, because at the time it was set, Hive was like 10 cents. Well, now it's like,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
it should.
The idea would be to set it to a rate where basically anyone in the world can afford it, but it's not so low that it's like, well, I want 1,000 accounts, I'll just pay $1,000.
And the point is, if you write one decent introduce yourself post, you will get back 3 HBD. Because I will vote for you, and my vote's worth $1.20, and Dan might give you a 3% vote, and that will just take you into profit immediately. So, but you have to actually write the damn post. You have to be a human. You have to put up a picture of something. I mean, it doesn't have to be you. It can be your cat. It doesn't matter. But this is the way giving them away is fundamentally wrong, and it breaks the whole. This is the value for value model that Adam Curry talks about all the time. It's like, how much is this worth to you? Well, it's worth different things to different people, but it's got to be worth something. If you don't ask for the money, you won't get any money, and then people will not value it. It's like, what is this worth?
Sure. This is really interesting. There's a couple of things here. So we've built this ceramic account system, right? And it's basically anyone can run a ceramic node, and those accounts are free, and they're basic signups. It gives you a key, but it's just a public key and a private key. And then there's no block. It's not on a blockchain, and you can post content through to the ceramic indexer, and then that indexer can be implemented into other apps, and everyone gets access to the same content. What the other thing that you can do is you can attach your other crypto accounts to that. So now you can effectively post through your Ceramic account using other crypto blockchains like Ethereum. You'll be able to sign in with MetaMask, for example. Then the idea to me is, well, then they can scale up, then they can upgrade to a Hive account as they see these Hive accounts are earning, they see that they're getting immutable storage and things like this. So it just allows the whole scaling thing to happen. It allows for people to post off chain. But then, because of course, if on-chain transactions get expensive or resource credit intensive, you don't want to post your LOL to the chain, right? You want to be able to post that off-chain so you don't use any resources. But the problem with this is giving away free accounts is that you're going to get bots.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the kind of let's call it VIP level or the upgrade level is going to be the Hive account where you have to either earn. Well, the beauty of the Ceramic accounts is you'll be able to let people earn.
Exactly.
And they'll use a proxy account that's actually on Hive. It will keep track of, say, 10 or 100 Ceramic accounts. And then as those accounts earn in that proxy account, there'll be a certain point where the proxy account can click a button to upgrade to a Hive account.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we do on ThreeSpeak is we're still currently giving away free Hive accounts, but you have to get your keys, you have to post a video, right? So that there's another compromise there where we're still giving free accounts away, but you do have to do something that's very difficult to bot.
You have to give your content to ThreeSpeak. Now, it's not the same as giving everything to Facebook, but there has to be a quid pro quo. There has to be, sort of an exchange of value. And I'm always looking for that, because if you're not giving value for something, then somebody is taking it from you in some other way. And that's the hidden, story of Google and Facebook all these years. They've just been pillorying your private personal information to sell to everybody. And that's why they're so rich and we're all so poor. But we're going to reverse that, partly by selling them.
You're rich in decentralized love.
Exactly.
Brian.
Exactly.
I think Hive accounts are vastly undervalued. I think I said a little while ago I could see them being easily $100 one day, simply because of all the access. It's a one-time fee. If you look at like the .eth, those things go for like hundreds of thousands. I'd much rather have my Hive account than any of the fancy .eths. If we're talking, monetary value aside, obviously. If we're talking about pure utility, I get a lot more out of my Hive account if I had to choose between using one or the other. So, I mean, the whole point is it's like a club. If you have long lines and it's raining outside and you don't have some kind of umbrella, people aren't going to wait in that line. It's a really super badass club, but you're going to reduce your people by 90%. But if it's like you're in the club while you're waiting to be in the club, like it's not that big of a deal. There's some air conditioner. People can get a vibe, aka a light account. People can get on. They can see what it's about. They can interact. But then they're looking around like, oh, look, that person's making money. How do I do that? And then it clicks. They're like, oh, well, of course I need to pay into this system because like they're getting free money. That makes sense to them. So like once they're in, they can see the value. But if you just hit them right away with a large fee, it's sort of like, who are you, right? Like, who are you to charge me? There's so many other convenience monsters out there. I get on this one for free. I get on that one for free. I can do this for free. So who are you to charge me? I don't know who you are. But if they can get in for free, it's that sample, like, this is good. What is this? And then then you got their attention. So that's always been the problem with Hive. Hive was like sort of like, or Steam back in the day, like, oh, we give away the accounts for free because we want people to sample. We need people to get in because like, who are you to charge me? And then, that devalued the accounts, obviously, and a lot of bots took advantage. But now Hive has grown its own legs. People are understanding what it is. We have more of an oomph that we can charge 3 HBD for an account. I think one day that might be 100. But I think right now that's a reasonable price for what you get. You get a lot more out of it than what you pay, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the flip side to this as well. There's a couple of things I want to say here. So the first one is, what's this, the whole blog post earn mentality. So people wanted to come blog post and earn, right? And if they weren't earning enough, then they left. Whereas I see now the community starting to realize that it's not about blog post earn. The value of these accounts is that they are your accounts and you own them, right? No one can take them away from you. You own your community. You own your followers lists.
I'm still Brian of London on Hive, and I'm not Brian of London
Right.
on Twitter. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
And you
night
can
and
quote
day.
Monty Python all day.
You could turn your account into a site as well, where it just shows your posts. So it's like, it's more than an account. It's a website. It's a bank account. It's all these things that belong to you.
Yeah.
That you can build a foundation on.
I'll tell you what. It won't be long until a lot of these NFT platforms start to build these features into their NFTs, and then they'll be like, "Oh, Hive accounts are just clever NFTs."
Well, they are.
Exactly.
And
that's what we should
all my
rename them to.
All my power up days
Yeah.
and power up months and all of that stuff, each one of those is an NFT. Now, it might not have an eye-watering price mark of some stupid monkey picture, but it is more valuable because, again, it proves I am real, I am human. It provides much more. It provides something much more useful to the world than yet another weird picture of some monkeys.
It proves you're not a monkey.
I am not a monkey.
And then,
yes.
And then the other thing that I think is interesting here. Jesus. This is the guy. Yeah, this is the guy that invented all this stuff, right? He's gone past level monkey.
Monkey.
He can now imitate a monkey. So the other thing that I think is interesting here is how do you price? I'm sure there's plenty of people that have thought about how to price a Hive account because right now I agree, like something like Tass just said, where it's 3 HBD is reasonable. It's a reasonable price. It's inclusive for many people around the world that maybe can't afford much more than that, but they can still get that and then earn the money back. But then the next level, I think, where we look into in the future is it's because I mean ultimately the witnesses could adjust the inflation rate of Hive accounts as well. So you could have an adjustment in that where you could make Hive accounts more available. But I still don't think that's right. I think the genuine value of a Hive account will come to, maybe not next year or the year after, but at some point it will come to, how long does it take for you to prove that you are human, and how valuable is it to have an account that proves you're a human?
Yeah.
And that's approved by a decentralized community of people who have got their own pre-existing reputations, which we have on Hive, and it's like, what does that take? 3 months of your work, 6 months of your work, and how valuable is that, right? Until you get that final approval, and then how do you bypass that? How do you go on the fast track? Is there a way that you go on the fast track by just posting, or do you need to pay to be able to go on the fast track? And how much?
We need an NFT that says likely human. If you're, after you've done it so much, you're like likely human.
Advanced past monkey level.
Yeah, I only upvote people who are likely human.
But I don't upvote the humans.
Yeah, you got to be likely human.
But
likely, yeah.
But listen,
likely with a tendency not to shave beard.
But for example, if you have taken part in a power up first day of the month, okay, that is really like, whilst someone could design a bot that did that, and I will admit that because I've written so many other bits of Python, I do actually have a little bot that powers up one Hive a day now, every day. So I take part in power up months. But whilst you can bot this stuff, to know that it exists, you have to be human to read blog posts. You have to know, Tracy and Archange are running this kind of thing. It's like there's levels of degrees of understanding what's going on Hive that are really hard to do if you're not human.
What you mentioned brings up an interesting angle on this as well, because to me, regardless of whether it's a bot or not, if it's doing something positive for the community, then that type of behavior is okay. So it's like, to me, like, if it's a malicious bot, how many malicious bots are powering up? It's like probably none, right? Probably pretty much none. Whereas other people will use bots to power up and add value to the community as a result, right? So there's an area there where it's a bit grey and needs to be defined a bit better, I think.
It'd be like Star Wars, where it's like you have like your androids or whatnot that are like, they're almost human, but they're not, but they add value, so they tag along.